This episode is brought to you ad-free thanks to all of our wonderful patrons. You can get tons of exclusive content, including bonus episodes, warm-up audio, and early access to episodes, all while helping us keep the show going by joining at patreon.com/shonenflop.
Welcome to this episode of Shonen Flop, where we talk about manga, usually in Shonen Jump that didn't make it big. I'm David.
I'm Jordan.
Next week, we're going to be getting dirty as we're covering Muddy.
Oh, God.
If you'd like to read along with us, be sure to join the discussion in our Discord and submit your 6-word summary. Find a link to the Discord in our episode description and on our website, shonenflop.com. But this week, we're talking about Appearance of the Yellow Dragon, and we are joined by our guest today, Sakaki. Sakaki, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, no problem. It's great to be here. Yo,
MTV Raps.
Asakura. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Sakaki, do you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I translate.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm sorry, my ADHD brain.
What? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
So I used to translate manga. Nowadays, I've kind of transitioned over into just kind of tweeting about it because it's much less work.
The translator to tweet pipeline. I love it.
Yeah, I translate this. So it's funny because we had a couple of manga that you wanted me to be on for, and I translated all of them. So I don't know how much of that was on purpose, or if you just kind of looked up to see the stuff I've done and were like, oh, he could be on these, or if it just happened that each one you just picked and I translated them.
MaxyBee, who picks the series that we cover, is a legend, so I would not be surprised.
Oh, okay, yeah, Maxie and I go way back.
Yeah, Maxie, I guess, just knew.
So we're excited to talk about this. So what made you want to translate this series?
I don't remember. It was a very long time ago. I think it was just because the art kind of captured my attention.
Oh, okay. The art, it's interesting, and we'll definitely get into that. But before that, why don't we actually hear about the deal with this manga? So let's get into the manga details.
Yeah.
Jordan, take it away.
All right, so this is Appearance of the Yellow Dragon, written by Mitsuhisa Tamura. Notable people they were an assistant for is Yohei Sakai of Dinosaur King. Isn't Dinosaur King like that Pokemon ripoff except with dinosaurs?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And Yuki Miyoshi of Samurai Showdown, which is, I believe, an old fighting game. Notable people they had as an assistants was Masanori Yoshida of Tokyo Kido Elevator Girl. Never heard of it. Sounds like a manga about elevators.
It's got a lot of ups and downs.
Hey! Oh my god! David with the zingers! And Chio Kenmotsu of Umisaki Lilac? Like the flower?
They have flowers in Japan, Jordan.
Do they?
Yeah, let me tell you about the Sakura thing.
Anyway, Bakagyaman, which I guess is stupid Pokemon, from 2006 to 2007, 5 volumes, Weekly Shounen Sunday. Apparently had a 51 episode anime, so I guess that is not flop eligible.
Yeah.
All these mangaka that he had as assistants actually were in Shonen Sunday. So Yoshida did a series called Ifrit. I don't remember how long it ran.
Oh.
And Chio Kenmotsu did a series of it was about a doctor. Like I guess he was like a monster doctor.
Ah, Jack Black. Blackjack, not Jack Black. I fucked up my own joke.
And like I read both of them, obviously millions of years ago. And the other ironic thing is you were just about to get to this. Chio Kenmotsu also did a Pokemon manga. I think it was more of a shoujo-ish one.
Interesting.
And Bakagyaman is actually the brainchild of Kazuhiro Fujita, the guy behind Ushio and Tora. He wanted to kind of get into the ring with the Pokemon thing. So like Bakagyaman was actually a media mix project. It had a manga, an anime, and all these things at the same time.
Oh, so it was trying to be like Pokemon 2.
Essentially, and Kazuhiro Fujita came up with the character designs. Actually, if you watch Bakagyaman, the anime, you'll see some of his yokai designs from Ushio and Tora.
Oh, that's really cool.
So, like, and obviously that didn't work out so well. It actually aired right after The Law of Ueki ended, its anime adaptation.
Interesting.
It was a show immediately after. Like, I remember watching Ueki Raw on TV in Japanese, downloading torrents back in the day.
You can't fool us. You can't fool us.
He was hitting that anime raw.
I'll obviously get into this later, but yeah. So when I was watching Ueki, towards the end of the series, they had commercials for obviously the show that was going to take the time slot next, and it was Bakagyaman.
Huh. Okay.
I actually have a memory associated with this where I was doing like an anime like marathon where we were going to watch all of Baccano in one shot, but we had people who were interested watch the first episode just to see if it was for them because, you know, it's kind of violent. And this one guy is like, yeah, man, I loved it. It was super awesome. And then it turned out that he had watched this show instead. That is my memory of this series.
That sounds very different from Baccano.
Yeah, he wasn't a very smart person.
Bam!
Yeah.
Fuck you if you're listening.
It's all right, Mo, you are an asshole. Jordan, can you keep telling us about his other works?
Yeah, so he made a Pokemon manga, as Sakaki just mentioned. Future card buddy fight?
Okay, buddy. That sounds like our subreddit, Okay Buddy card fight.
Which is apparently a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff.
Was. Rest in peace, it died.
Yeah, rip. It had like 6 anime series, apparently.
No, they're still going, actually, so...
But the card game itself has stopped being printed. That's what it said on Wikipedia. Or 2020, they stopped printing new cards.
This seems like it was a huge fad that died out and no one remembers it. Like, just like the Macarena, I guess. Yeah, we got another feature card buddy fight manga. I have to look this up. What the fuck is this? It's called Shin Buddy Fight.
God, it's in the same universe as Shin Godzilla.
Or Shin Megami Tensei, yeah. And then Shin Myth Sensei Uraman, which seems like it was also a flop 2022-2023 weekly Koro Koro comic, which is apparently, as MaxyBee says, a rare original work. Woof. Yeah, it's about an elementary school teacher who must protect his students from spooky urban myths.
I want to read Hell Teacher Nube, but we have Nube at home, and it's this.
Oh my god. And then Jordan, what's the publishing dealio with this guy?
All right, so we're not talking about that shit right now. We are unfortunately talking about Appearance of the Yellow Dragon, which ran in Shonen Sunday Super. It was monthly.
The sequel to Shonen Sunday.
Shin Shonen Sunday. It ran from July 2009 to June 2010, so almost a year, not quite. It replaced Mirai no Football, which was apparently a flop. And the series that replaced this was Akumugari, which was also 1 volume and a flop. The series that started at the same time as it was Mushibugyo, 3 volumes, a little bit of a flop, but it got rebooted into a series that lasted 32 volumes and got an anime. So I guess that was Shin Mushibugyo.
Shin Mushibuya Super.
Yes. Shin Mushibugyo Z Super Fighting Edition.
Superhero.
Yeah. And Maho no Iroha, which was also 3 volumes and a flop. A lot of flops here, but Pierce the Yellow Dragon, 12 chapters, 2 volumes, which is weird to me because these chapters are not big. So these volumes have to be like tiny.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw monthly, but then I was like, ooh, 25-page chapters. I love it.
Yeah.
But why don't we actually hear about what's going on in the plot summary? So ready?
Enji is a mad scientist specializing in magic who wants a hot, big, booby girl named Moegi to like him. He decides to summon the great yellow dragon to impress her, but oh no, instead of a dragon, a little girl appears. Her name is Kimidori, and she is actually the dragon.
What?
She's got little lizard tails, and instead of breathing fire, she vomits clear jelly that explodes. She soon meets new friends Botan, Shishimaru, and some other kid in an attempt to make the kids think he's cool. And she summons a red dragon, which appears as a tiny little birdie that beats the shit out of him. It's at this point that Kimidori reveals to Enji that he fucked up an incantation when summoning her and accidentally made himself subservient to her. Popcorn Jordan.
A bunch of goofy shit happens, then an armor-clad, down-on-her-luck young dragon hunter named Lucora shows up to take down Kimidori. When Kimidori easily defeats her, she demands that Lucora become her underling. When training, Kimidori fires one of her dragon breath jelly cubes with a slingshot that sends Lucora and Enji flying right in front of a bear, where Enji's magic potion drops out of his pocket and makes the bear super strong. Enji jumps in front of her because, like, she's only a kid, and the bear gets diarrhea from the potion and runs away.
It's so weird.
Lucora's clothes get ripped off by branches, and in a shocking and incredibly thankful turn of events for manga, Enji doesn't give a shit because she's a kid. Oh my god. Thank you, author, for canonically making your main character who's a pervert not a pedophile. Why is that so fucking rare? Popcorn David.
A bunch more goofy shit happens involving the obligatory Hot Springs peeping chapter, and then Kimidori and Moegi are kidnapped by Genjo, the head scientist of Bolt Country, who considers himself Enji's rival, even though Enji doesn't give a shit about him. I was about to say Lucario. Maybe I'll just call her Lucario. And the kids all Aura. Uh-oh, if I say Aura too much, it turns into JoJo. And the kids all get on a magic carpet powered by Kimidori's dragon breath placed into glass balls called Dragon Balls, even though they even I did love how they made a joke about how they might get sued for that term.
So many.
It seems at first that Kimidori is under the control of the bad guy. When Genjo, and who seems to actually be a pedo, tries to make her change into a swimsuit, Kimidori blows up the entire city and reveals she was faking it the whole time. How kawaii. A bunch of bad guys start plotting to take over the Bolt Empire now that Kimidori broke it up, but just kidding. The manga is over.
I kind of liked that joke. I don't know.
That's the thing. We'll get into it. Let's get into the characters.
About it.
Sakaki, would you tell us about Enji and how he should get into the robot?
So Enji's the main character. He's a cool magical scientist, a perv, you know. Well, Enji's a guy. Like he's living in.
He's just a guy. He's just a bro, you know. He's just like.
He has this girl that he really likes, and he could be like, you know, curing cancer or something, but instead he's summoning dragons badly.
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to summon dragons.
I'm so glad you got that joke.
That panel will truly live in the annals of history.
One of the greatest panels ever.
I'm so glad. I mean, he's a bit of a pervert, like, in Super. He does get emotional. That's one thing I guess I kind of like about him, is that he wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not overly difficult to figure out.
Like, he does have, like, a certain sense of responsibility as an adult towards protecting children. Like, I respect that. Like, it's one of the few positive qualities that Enji has.
Yeah, not being a pedophile is big plus.
Not being a pedophile, trying to prevent children from getting killed, also kind of a plus.
The big two of morality, not being a pedophile and not wanting to kill children.
Yes, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, they do, actually.
But yeah, I just think of Steins Gate with that "I'm a cool scientist" scene. Whenever I say he's a cool magical scientist, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
No.
Actually, yeah, no. He does have a lot of Okabe vibes.
It is one of the greatest moments of a character in an anime trying to speak English really badly. Jordan, you'll just go watch it after. Just look up cool scientist scene and it's fucking ridiculous.
I will. Yeah. No, I've heard good things about Steins Gate.
Yeah, it's very good.
No, I recommend it. Yes.
And then anyway, Jordan, do you want to tell us about Moegi? Can you please use the terminology I use for consistency?
Moegi?
No, under the notes.
Oh, yes. So we got Moegi. She has bazongas.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that's the main thing about her.
She's very nice and has giant boobs, and that's her entire character.
She's nice and has giant boobs, and Enji is primarily perverted towards her.
Because you gotta, again, respect that he's a perv towards adult women.
Yes. I think he's a perv towards explicitly one adult woman.
That's true, because he doesn't care about the other adult woman in the series.
He's kind of a stalker.
Yeah.
We almost redeemed him, where he's like, okay, at least he's a one-woman dude. But no, then we had...
No, he's a one-woman dude in the creepiest possible way.
Okay.
He literally pays a guy to get photos of her at the beach.
Yeah, he tries to turn into a snake because she has another snake that she lets crawl over her body. And he's like, I want to do that too. Oh my God, I'm going to turn myself into a snake so I can touch her boobs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And speaking of, let's talk about Kimidori, the yellow dragon. She's very smug. She likes to live a simple life. She doesn't have a ton of personality traits. She slowly gains them at the end of the series. To be honest, she kind of exists a lot as like a prop rather than someone who actually has like their own agency in the series.
Yeah, she's very blasé. She kind of seems like she doesn't really give a shit about anything, really. She likes to eat a lot. I don't know. What more can you say about Kimidori?
Yeah. Sakaki, do you mind telling us about the last character, the Dragon Slayer?
Lucora Radish. I don't know if I spelled it wrong on purpose or or if it was a thing when I translate. I don't know. I'm actually kind of glad I got that name. Anyway,
I love having the translators on here. Like, this is like the third person who's worked on the manga we've had on like in a row.
Yeah, it's true.
It's been great.
The big three.
Yeah.
I'm like the bronze medal here.
I didn't mean that.
No.
I
know you didn't mean that. She's a dragon slayer, and yes, forehead. I love her forehead.
More like 5 head.
There's so many forehead jokes about her.
Yes.
It's just shiny.
She's like cosplaying as Alphonse Elric.
Yeah.
So like there's that. The reveal of that is so fast though, because it's like in another series I feel like that would have taken a long time to get to that. That it's this big hulking armor, but she's actually like a little girl. Yeah, she feels like she should have been the protagonist of this maybe, but she's introduced basically in the back half of the series.
Yeah.
And I love you have typical broke millennial.
I just love how she's like a quintessential girl failure.
Yeah, she is so much wants to be kind of like this, like, I guess paragon of like, again, the protagonist, but she just fails so hard at it. Mainly because I guess in another series with like lesser dragons that she probably wouldn't have been able to like do her job properly. But the first one she beats up with is Kimidori, who's like, again, a prop. So she stood no chance. And yeah,
No.
I'm not sure I guess her relationship with Enji is kind of like the perverted older brother to her little sister or whatever, who tries to keep him in line. I guess.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was like a tsundere, and then the author just kind of gave up on that like being a thing.
It seemed basically like he kind of viewed her as like a daughter figure almost. Like he's like, someone's like, hey, who's that? And she's like, we live together. And they're like, you live together? Like a girlfriend? And he's like, no, she's more like my fucking daughter. There are like a few scenes where it's implied that Lucora is developing a crush on Enji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he keeps seeing her naked.
Yeah, and again, he don't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because again, he views her as more like a daughter figure.
And speaking of girl failure, why don't we get into why it failed?
Yeah.
I will kick things off. So I think the big thing is this series has like kind of no plot, but not like in a way that like a gag manga has no plot. It just kind of feels like everything is pointless rather than it being fun, silly adventures. And then it, of course, shotguns a plot in the last 3 chapters as it just wants to do. But like the whole time I'm reading it, I'm just like, what is the point of any of these scenes?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's just not funny enough to get away with having nothing go on.
I feel like this series is, I would describe it as nothing.
It's the Seinfeld.
Yeah, except...
Even though we already made that joke with SWAT's cover art.
Well, SWAT is just truly about nothing in the worst way. This is like, it's not even like the worst. It's just kind of like whatever. It's like extremely forgettable. It's like this series was bad, but it's like when you're asking me why it failed, it's difficult because I'm just like, the series left almost no impression on me. Like,
You must have loved writing this plot summary because it was super easy versus last episodes.
you notice that I just said a bunch of goofy shit happened twice.
Yeah.
Because nothing mattered. Like, it's the reverse of A Gravity Boys, where a bunch of goofy shit happens, but somehow it all matters.
God, I love that series.
It's a good series. No, it's just like, whatever.
This is a strong contender for series we most forgot we read.
I feel like the biggest thing for this series is, right, it had a weekly pacing in a monthly magazine.
Yeah, but the chapters still felt too long. It was like Cyborg Grandpa G, where it was like the joke had like 12 pages of jokes, but then he had to repeat the joke multiple times to fill the page count.
Yeah, it feels like this should have been a weekly Shonen Sunday manga. I don't know if that would have helped it, but I feel like at least then it could have gotten through more. Because like it sounds like Tamura was trying to like get around to a plot, but it kind of being nothing chapters once a month made it all that much easier to forget. At least if it was constantly in your face in a weekly magazine, I feel like it might have had a little bit more time to get through get through the character introductions, basically.
I completely agree.
This series almost feels like a 4-koma comic stretched out.
That was my suggestion, actually, is this should have been a 4-koma.
It feels like a comic strip more than like a comic.
Like, imagine reading 25 pages of Charlie Brown every week.
God damn it. Yeah. Fuck. Like, with the same plot. Oh my God. This series is very short, but it still feels stretched out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many things where it's like, I get it.
I get the joke.
I get the joke. He's a pervert. And like, there aren't that many jokes in this series. There are like a few jokes that they repeat over and over again.
Exactly. I also think, though, that like Kimidori, it's just a boring character, and it's literally, she's in the name of the title, and she's perhaps like one of the least interesting characters in this series. But because of the nature of the series, she constantly has to be the center of attention. She's
kind of the catalyst for some stuff.
She's a prop.
I get, yeah, it's prop. No, it's a good way to describe it. I mean, let's see. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that, like, I expected to bother me that didn't bother me. Like, I thought that Enji being a total creep was going to bother me more than it did. It bothered me a bit at different points, but it wasn't, like, a super deal breaker. I mean, that's the problem, ultimately. Like, it's in that section where it's like, you know, there's a saying where, like, in art, you never want to have a C. You never want to get a C grade. A C grade is worse than an F.
Yeah.
Because a C grade is average and average is forgettable.
I agree.
I mean, this is below average, but
this
it's
is not
like,
a good manga.
This is not a good manga, but it's also like not blatantly horrible enough where I'm gonna be like I remember how bad SWAT was. I don't remember necessarily the things that happened in SWAT, but I remember my feelings while I was reading SWAT.
This is like Protect Me Shigemaru, where it was just really bad and unfunny, but I honestly couldn't tell you what happened besides saying it was really bad and unfunny.
Bad and unfunny.
Oh, except for the manga chapter.
And all the penis jokes.
God.
There's really nothing worse than a bad comedy.
Yeah. And then, Sakaki, is there anything you feel like was an issue in the series we haven't brought up yet?
Like I said, I just feel like Tamura had this pacing issue with it where it was just kind of like, this would have been fine at like 18 pages. Like if it ran in current Shonen Sunday where you can have a 10-page chapter, I feel like this would have been much better because like something like Sleepy Princess that is like 11 pages a week. I feel like that would have done this wonders, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't say that it would have made this a successful series like Sleepy Princess and Demon's Castle, but I can say that, yeah, because it's a shame because like Tamura's art's like interesting. Like he definitely has like a battle manga vibe in a comedy thing, which I'm just like, that's to me that's an odd choice. But hey, go off, King. Go I mean, hey, I mean, I guess if he wanted to do something for himself and this is what he could come up with, then sure. But like, you definitely are a person that should stick to action manga.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, as we said, the page count is the thing that really fucked this series up.
I kind of feel like this series and Killing Me should have like swapped page lengths.
Killing Me is a vampire romance or a vampire lesbian manga if you're unfamiliar, Sakaki. Yeah, but each of the chapters are like 8 pages and like nothing happens because of that.
Yeah.
Oh.
These chapters are like double that length and still nothing happens in them.
Yeah.
So like Killing Me needed more things to happen. Whereas this series, obviously nothing was going to happen no matter what. So it's like it needed to be condensed.
Like some series in current Shonen Sunday do just alternate not even alternate, but they'll just, if they don't feel like there's a lot to do in a chapter, like for example, like Fly Me to the Moon or Tonikaku Kawaii, there'll be some weeks where it's just 8 pages. Cause like Kenjiro Hata's like, that's all I got out of this idea. Or you'll have chapters of Komi Can't Communicate, for example, that'll just be 4 comas in the middle of the chapter. Cause rather than have a few pages dedicated to one joke, he'll just do he'll just be like normal page count, 4 coma for 3 pages, then go back to normal page count.
Yeah, he does those like mini chapters where it's like a 6-page chapter, and someone's like, "How is there 3 chapters of the manga out this week?" And you just split like 20 pages into 3 chapters, which the series should have done.
I mean, I don't think it was the thing Sunday was doing at the time, but like, I really wish that. I'm so glad that they do it now. And then, like I said, bringing up, actually, no, they're more than Sleepy Princess. There are like 3 series in Sunday right now that are just like 8 pages a week, including Koji Kumata's Shibuya Near Family, which is basically South Park but in Shibuya.
I love it.
and it's the Zetsubo Sensei guy.
What is it called?
Shibuya Near Family. I don't know if anybody's translating it.
If only we had a translator.
When we do our shout outs, I'll tell. I do talk about it once in a while, but yeah.
I love it. And then speaking of things that are great, let's get into what it did well. So Jordan, I know you've been tearing apart the series, but you do have to build up a little bit. So what are some things you actually enjoyed about it?
This series sometimes gets a sensible chuckle out of me. Sensible Chuckle magazine.
Yeah, it's like Ichigoki's Under Control, where every other chapter or so there's something funny.
There are jokes in this series that land. The one I'm thinking about is like, it is in the hot springs chapter where Kimidori just drinks way too much water and she gets like really massive and is just like bouncing around. Like, I don't know, that was kind of funny. There's like weird shit in here. Like he thinks like, once I lengthen my nose, it will make Moegi like me. And he makes a frog have like the long nose.
And I really love that frog with the long nose. It's just so silly looking.
I love the frog too.
The physical comedy and art in this is actually pretty good, which I've noticed in a lot of shitty gag mangas. It's usually the physical comedy, which I guess is the easiest thing to write well.
From the first chapter, I thought this art was going to be really bad. But as it went on, I realized, no, actually, this art's like, for what it is, it works.
Yeah, the artwork's perfectly fine for this. I also think, actually, there are some good instances also of good paneling. Like, when you see Lucario doing curls as training, the next panel just subtly zooms out and you see she's also, like, carrying a bunch of tires. And I thought that was really good. And the author didn't get greedy and he didn't, like, have someone say, whoa, what is she doing with all those tires? It was just, like, a very nice, subtle joke that was, like, exactly what this series needed to do more of. So he did have it in him to actually make good jokes that were, you know, actually, like, based on the characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I liked the bear getting diarrhea. That was pretty good. Like, what the fuck?
Sasaki, besides bears having diarrhea, what else did you like in the series?
I actually kind of like Lucura's character, honestly. I wish we could have gotten more of her because, like, there's just something about, like, the
me too,
the broke dragon, and, like, she's, like, super strong. Like, her weapon's, like, bigger than she is, and it's, like, there's just so much of that I wish that she had been introduced sooner or even was the main character. Because, like, I don't know, there's something about her that's just endearing to me. I feel like she had the most character, like the most rememberable character out of all of those characters in this series.
Honestly, the chapter where she showed up should have been the first chapter.
Oh, that would have been a good idea. Well, maybe the second chapter.
I don't know, because, like, if she just showed up and then they told how Kimidori showed up in, like, flashbacks, sort of, or, like, subtly as it went on, and she's just like, what the fuck? Like, that would have been better. Like, she could have been, like, the audience fish out of water surrogate, which is sort of what she became. Like, she was far and away the most interesting character in the series. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's not a huge accomplishment, but she does it. Nah, she's all right. You know, the broke millennial.
Yeah, I also do think it's funny the Dragon Slayer is being trained by a dragon, which makes me think of what Mama Yu could have done if it hadn't dropped the ball in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only read 2 chapters of that, but yeah.
That's fine. You don't need to read more.
I don't know. I thought it was all right. I said it wasn't a flop, you know? Yeah.
I think you're out of pocket, but whatever.
I respect that.
On that note, shall we get into where it could have gone?
Yeah.
So Jordan, what are some things that you feel like you would have revised?
I either would have introduced Lucora earlier or I would have kept her as an antagonist longer. Either she shows up from the beginning or she acts as like almost a Team Rocket type character where she's like trying to catch Kimidori and Kimidori's outsmarting her at every point, you know?
Just absolute girl failure.
Absolute girl failure. Yes. I mean, Kimidori literally sends her blasting off again.
Yeah, she does.
I actually think that would have been cool. And also, like, maybe Kimidori was, like, punished to be in this form. And it's kind of like, what was it, like the 100 Deeds of Eddie McDowell, where in order to turn back to a dragon, she has to do, like, 100 MacGuffins or something. And that also gives you, like, a structure. And, like, it feels like it can very slowly move towards something. Like, maybe she lost 100 Dragon Balls and she has to re-get them all to turn back.
It would have been nice if Kimidori had any motivation whatsoever.
Yeah, she just fucking is chilling all the time, which makes the plot feel like it's forcing itself to have anything happen.
Or we could have it the other way, right? Where Enji is like, we could have done the thing where like he summoned her wrong, so he's like trying to find a way to get her to leave. I mean, which is it's kind of that, but like he kind of just says, you know what, well, this is my life now, so okay. He gets into this mode where
it's a living.
Yeah, he kind of gets into this mode where he just gives up on that. But like as the series kind of would have went on, like him reading up on trying to get rid of this dragon and finding out more about other dragons, which again he kind of does, but like everything comes so fast and it's completely forgotten almost immediately that like I almost think that the plot was okay, but it just feels like Tamura had this again ADHD brain where he just kept introducing stuff and then going on to the next thing right away. Let's think simmer a little bit. Like Enji, we could have had a couple of chapters of him saying, okay, I'm gonna read through this book and find out like I'm such against this dragon, I hate it, but like, you know, let me find a way to like undo this and send her back. And hey, maybe you had a whole thing where he actually gets sent back with her, then we get to see Dragon World or something.
It's also the magical parts of the series need to be built out. Like, I'm surprised we haven't talked about Dr. Slump. I mentioned the chibi, but this is pretty much magical Dr. Slump. And I think a cool way to have differed it is he has all these magical devices, but they don't really explain the rules.
Except worse.
we know this series isn't good. And so it would have been cool if they'd actually built out like a magic system and maybe there were some rules to how his devices worked, and it kind of contrasts the Toon Force that the dragons use. And I think that would have been a fun way where, like, I'm a sucker for how Witch Hat Altair has like a very strict magic system, and that just would have been a cool contrast with like characters and made it more fun that these characters don't even play by the rules of magic. That's like how Toon Force they are.
No, I kind of like that idea, actually.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wait, you're like, how are you summoning something without the ritual circle? And she's like, I just do. And he's like, what the fuck?
I mean, I do kind of like when she is summoned, she just comes in an egg and it's like it's her apartment. And
she just opens the door. Yeah, that was a good joke. Like, it seemed like he could have summoned her as a full dragon, but he fucked up. Like, she isn't supposed to be here as a little girl, but
I thought she said that was actually her form. It's like how one of the dragons is a bird.
it's so confusing. It's so confusing.
They needed to have at least one normal looking dragon.
They needed to show some cutaway or flashback of her in her world to understand what the fuck was going on there. Like, give us some idea of what he took her from.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying. Like, we should have had, like, an establishing thing of, like, what it is where the dragons live. Like, something like that. Even if it was, like, kind of part of the first chapter. Or something where it's, like, she's just chilling as a dragon and this thing. And then, you know, like, magical circle appears. A giant hand just grabs her and brings her to this dimension. But it's, like, the hand's, like, bumping against the thing because she won't fit because she's too big. So it's, like, all right, balls are up, little girl mode.
Or, like, there's an implication at some point that her motivation should be that she doesn't want to go back to her world because it's, like, way more chill in this one. Why don't you have, like, bad guys coming to this world to try and take her back? Again, that's something.
Yeah, or a real dragon slayer.
Yeah.
God, it's so stupid. And then as we talked about it before, definitely this would have been much better as a 4-coma format, or at least, like, keep it under 10 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And weekly.
I think, though, we've sufficiently have redesigned this series so it'll be a success. So shall we get into some miscellaneous thoughts? Sakaki, what would you say is like something you feel you haven't had a chance to bring up that you want to mention in the show?
I don't remember why I translated this other than the fact that I guess I just like the art. I kind of feel like it's a guy that translated Gintama for 10 years. I kind of have a handle on comedies, I guess. As far as this goes, I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad it was short because like it was definitely something I cut my teeth on as a translator.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know I would have stuck with it if it had been like successful. I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
So it running 2 volumes meant that I was able to finish it. And as far as like, because I see one of the things here is like, why is Western Dragons? I mean, it seemed like the background of this, like, I guess the setting of this series was more Western.
Yeah, with the knight. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even though they have Japanese names, which is interesting.
Or hot springs.
Yeah, and it's a weird kind of pastiche of different things. As far as the series goes, like, revisiting it now, like, I guess when I was translating, I was like, this is fine. Like, I had time. And I think I was a little bit sad when I realized, oh, well, this is it. Okay. Especially, I know we're probably going to get to it in a second, but especially, like, the ending gag, which was like, yeah, no, I had a plan, but you're not going to see it now.
Would have been pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been nice to introduce a plot. Damn. Also, this series, a little bit transphobic. I'm just going to say it.
Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Pride Month. There's a couple moments, like there's a pervert chasing Moegi, a different one aside from Enji. Like, it seemed like the joke in that chapter was that it was going to be...
Yeah, there was a cross-dressing person.
Yeah, cross-dressing. He was like... there was a panel where he's like, no, it's totally fine for a guy to wear a bikini. What? And then she's like all freaked out. And then there's the hot springs one where it's like, oh no, Enji is making himself look like a girl walking into a hot spring, which, you know, is like the conservative trans panic thing. But yeah, so those were a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, a little unfortunate.
I'm also imagining during the earthquake scene, if this had been animated, how they explicitly say there's an earthquake going on. The anime would have played that out, like the turbulence scene in Airplane.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Yeah. God, what a fucking classic scene where it's like the jelly is jiggling and then they just have like a woman's breast just shaking.
Only PG movie to have breasts in it, like, by the way.
That's good fun fact.
Good fun fact, yeah.
Yeah, also, MaxyBee wanted me to say that they have no fun facts about this series. This is a puddle deep, and I don't mean that's criticism. Heart on its sleeve. I don't think I've ever seen MaxyBee just say, I got nothing. Yeah, this does make sense as a series for MaxyBee to say, I cannot find anything interesting about this series to mention.
I also got nothing and can barely find anything interesting to say about this series.
Oh, the Eva Alien mashup where they also make the same lawsuit joke.
Yeah, that one's all right.
That was a cool design.
That one's okay.
It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
It's a Xenomorph Eva Unit 1 combination.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. I guess we'll go into final verdict.
Yeah.
So, starting with our 6 word summaries from the community, from Tucker, Sorcerer's Slump, hey, there you go. Summons Up,
Hey.
Creepy Bullshit, MaxyBee, Ancient Lowly Dragon, but less gross. Andy's Islands, Brew Dragon, Witch Watch, Part 2, ooh, that's what I'm saying, both good series, though you should read The Flying Witch, which is literally that. Aura Paladin, Dragon falls instantly into a slump. Diego, the Phantom Seer, not actually a Rory kind of dragon.
Unfortunately.
Dude Rocks, second half ruined by Slayer sexualization. Glormac, dragging me along for the bullshit. Captain Clueless, Imagine Dragons but Slice of Life. Last of the Red Rose, second best yellow dragon behind Xeno. Meru, another dragon manga ruined by adults. Portalman, Beware the Powers of Dragon Lolly. And wait, this came before Rory Dragon? Quack, wait, how was Enji the protagonist?
Yeah, right?
Real said, evil dragon child hates innocent frogs. Yeah, that was a weird plot element. I don't know if they really explained her hatred of frogs. I probably at that point just kind of gave up caring.
They were literally just like, why are you afraid of frogs? And she's like, I don't know. Everybody's got something they don't like. I just don't like frogs. And it's like, okay, well, that's all right. It's just a little unsatisfying.
Yeah. Spubby, sleazy savant summons sassy super powered serpent. Spike, if only the plot wasn't dragon.
Hey.
Super Dave, will Enji ever cross second base? Talk about a 9 dragons ball parade.
Hey. He gets to second base, but then he immediately loses his memory of it.
He does, yeah.
Which good.
Yeah, that's good. Try Attack Zach, still can't believe they said giga boobs. Duku Dumbass, this one seems to drag on.
Hey!
Blamumu, the dragon series quickly burnt out. And then Sakaki, what was your 6 word summary?
Man summons pet but becomes fat.
That's just the future liberals want. Oh, that'd be a good set. That's a good 6 word summary. Jordan, what is yours?
The fuck can I even say?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And then I had 2. Mine was yellow drag on these nuts. Hashtag got 'em. That would be a contender. And then I'm actually the series was kind enough to give me a panel just to use where Kimadori just says no taste or texture at all.
Yeah, accurate.
And I just love it when the manga actually just has like a perfect panel as a 6 word summary. So I would say we all think this is a flop. The question is certified flop or not. Sakaki, what would you say? Would you say this is a flop or a certified flop?
Certified flop, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you regret translating this?
No.
Do you think the world is better that we can read this series in English?
No. No. I don't regret translating it only because, again, I was definitely starved for stuff that wasn't Gintama, which is like, I've explained to other people, imagine trying to explain The Simpsons to somebody who's never seen it in another language. That's Gintama.
Except there's like also a plot, right? Is there a plot in Gintama?
It's a badly executed one, but yes. So, but yeah, and I love that you mentioned a much better series that I love from another author I love. I wish his other series, I don't know if you'll ever cover it. I see Sorara mentioned, and I have to talk about it. Hidenori Yamaji, not much, but like, yeah, he's a really good guy. He had 2 flops before finding a hit with that one.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Dr. Slump, and you're like, I don't know if you've heard of his other works. Because we actually have covered Sandland on Patreon. We have covered something Akira Toriyama did.
Yeah, it's like, yo, have you heard of this other manga by the guy who did Dr. Slump? It's called Koa.
God.
But yeah, no, I'm so glad you mentioned Hidenori Yamaji, even by like association, because he's good.
I love it. And then, Jordan, what do you think?
Oh, this is a certified flop. As David said, it's fucking boring.
Yeah, buddy.
And it just leaves nothing. It's just like blah. Like, I don't know. It sure is a manga, I guess.
It is so fucking boring. And then, Jordan, what should someone check out instead of this?
Oh, God. I don't fucking know. Dr. Stone?
Okay. I thought you were going to suggest Ruri Dragon, which you just caught up on.
Yeah. Check out Ruri Dragon as well.
I just got a notification saying a new chapter drops, so I'm going to go read that.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm going to read that after this. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So also though, if people are curious for we'll get into it, but in our June Shonen drop, our monthly recap series of our episodes, we actually did a review of Uri Dragon, so you can find out if we liked it or not. Spoiler alert, we liked it a lot, hence why we're recommending it. I already mentioned The Flying Witch, which is essentially what if Yotsuba had magic in it, but I also like Sorara in the Monster's House. It's kind of like a crossover between Build King and Dungeon Meshi without being shitty. And it's literally about so essentially there was a war between humans and monsters. The war ended. And so this lady is like a former soldier and she runs into some dwarves that literally go around traveling, building houses for monsters. So it's really cool. There's a lot of engineering. There's a lot of thought. Like it's like how they build like a slime house and they have to make sure there's like it's made out of materials that have no friction. So the slime can like slide around everywhere and like a tube system. So it's really cool. And they have like really interesting kind of pseudo blueprints of the house. So it really looks like how you could have built the house if it actually existed. And so it's just like kind of scratches that dungeon meshy itch where you want to be in a world where it's more about kind of how people exist in the world rather than there being like a plot.
Sakaki, have you read Build King?
I have.
I'm sorry.
It was back when I was still reading Jump on a regular basis. I know I should get back to reading Jump at some point, and I will, I promise. But yeah,
it's okay.
I haven't read Jump in like 3 years, seriously.
Oh, dude, there's some good shit in there. You got to read Witch Watch, man. It's essentially what if this series was good.
I did read Witch Watch, but I didn't feel much for it. I like the conceit of the series, but I don't feel anything for the characters, especially coming off of Sket Dance, which I just feel like is much better.
I didn't like Sket Dance. I actually bounced off of it.
I don't feel anything for the Witch Watch characters.
I need to read Asta though.
Yeah.
Well, you should check out Don.
Yes, I do like Don. I did start that. I just haven't read it in a long time.
We are getting so off topic.
That's usually a bad sign for the series.
Yeah, well, we already called it a certified flop, Jordan, so I don't think it's much of a spoiler alert at this point.
Nope.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, there was like a 4chan post where someone was talking about Rise of Skywalker, where when Rey says her last name is Skywalker, I think I was absolutely awful dialogue. I walked out after she said that. And someone goes, well, yeah, dumb fuck, that's the last line of the movie.
God.
What were you going to say, Sakaki?
Yeah, what I was going to say is, like, actually, Shonen Sunday recently... Okay, 2 series that if I would recommend to you guys. Shonen Sunday has a series called Ogami Sumiki to Kinichijo, or Ogami Sumiki in the...
I'm going to be real with you, dog. You gotta send me the name of that in, like, a written form.
I will.
I will check it out, but you need to DM me the name of that series.
I will. I know the English name of it is Ogami Sumiki in the Abnormal Life. And that's basically Ruri Dragon, except, like, she's a werewolf instead.
Oh,
I can't wait for the crossover then.
So like that's one, and then there's another Shonen Sunday series that recently started, Hello Work Monsters, which is Sorara, but instead of building houses for the monsters, you're looking for jobs for them because it's got the same. I'll send it to you as a link because I actually wrote up like a quick brief thing about the series, and it's pretty similar to the format that you guys have on this show, which is I talk about the author's past works and then talk about what they are currently doing in Sunday for every new series that comes out. Yeah, and that one there's again war happens, war ended, and then now it's like, okay, we need to rebuild the kingdom, but it's like humans can't do this by ourselves, and we have all these unemployed monsters because the Demon King's dead, so like what are we gonna do with all these monsters that are just kind of around?
I love the idea of LinkedIn for monsters.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is, because like the Demon King has this like right hand man, he's still alive, but he's like, yeah, yeah, Demon King's dead, that sucks, but all these monsters deserve some kind of second life now. So the hero's there, and he's like, you guys know what you need as humans, and I know how to get these monsters to work, so let's work together and solve this problem. And you have like the hero's maid, who's basically the Merliel, where she's like, after all of this weird shit's happening, and she's just barely dealing with it. So it's really good. I've had a lot of fun with the series.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'll send you a link of like the write-up so you can kind of look at that.
That sounds good to me. This reminds me of a pitch that Taper Clip, who's a friend of the show, and I previously wrote Basketball Grandma with, where it was idea where it's kind of like Hitch, but for monsters trying to find love.
Oh.
And it's kind of a similar idea where it's like in a setting where monsters and humans are coming together. It's like you need matchmakers to try and like pair them together. So maybe I will write that pilot. He asked me to write it, but I just didn't want to write 25 pages.
Matchmaker, give me a match.
Anyway, Jordan, is this the worst thing we ever read?
Nah, it's just like, what the fuck ever. I mean, I didn't get super mad at it. It was just like that, just like blah.
Yeah. All right. I agree. Let's get into wrap-ups, right? So, Sakaki, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. This was an absolute blast. Always a pleasure to have the translator on. Where can people find more of you?
You can find me at Kirobon, Kiirobon. I mean, that's more or less become a retweet machine nowadays, though. The real fun is at WSS Talkback at Twitter, which is where, again, I talk about the entire Shonen Sunday magazine. I mean, fun fact, there are lots of magazine Twitters now, but if you check the dates, we're the first one. We're just the least popular because no one cares about Shonen Sunday. The least. No.
Hell yeah. Getting in there early.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, but yeah, we talk about, I mean, I say we talk about Shonen Sunday, but we talk about like anything Shougakukan pretty much from cover to cover. My whole goal with that Twitter account every week is to read the magazine in a way where it feels like you're reading it. So like I even little things like inserts, advertisements and stuff, I'll include them and just kind of talk about it. I know a lot of people hate that because it's like I can't go to any of these things. But yeah, that's what we do. And then we also have WSS Talkback.blogspot.com, which is where we have like translators interviews with mangaka, like directors. Most recent thing is, like I just mentioned, we have a series where when there are new Sunday serials, I write about them, just kind of like a brief, hey, this is what the author did before this is what the series is about now and how I feel about it.
Oh, interesting.
So like I did just link to the series I was just talking about, so you can check those out.
Perfect. Well, we will definitely check that out. I'm always a sucker for new things. I am trying to get myself to go through my backlog right now before I start any new series, but I always lie to myself about that.
That's primarily what I do, and then I'm also on a few other podcasts. I'm going to mention the Demon Slayer podcast, although V-Lord hasn't had me on it in a million years, so I'll be on it eventually, I guess. There's also at Saturday Night Shoggy, which is kind of like the podcast arm of Weekly Shougakukan Edition, where we just talk about Shougakukan things. And right, Colton will kill me if I don't mention this. Another Day, Another Adventure, a Dragon Ball podcast at Another DB Pod, where we're going through all of Dragon Ball. Basically, if it's animated and Goku shows up in it, we're going to talk about it because we're crazy.
But can he beat Goku?
Probably not.
I love the Makima versus Goku thing that went on Twitter for a while.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
But yeah, we're currently going through the original Dragon Ball series, and we just recorded a couple more episodes. So like, yeah, we're slowly working our way through that. I feel like we're going to run out of steam at some point, but I'm hoping we don't because I have a lot of fun with that show.
You'll probably run out of steam around Super.
I haven't actually seen Super, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh, Super's pretty good. It's a shame the manga's on hiatus right now.
Is it pretty good?
It's super duper, which is what they should call it's what they should call the sequel to the Super. I think I tweeted that like 10 years ago. Anyway, Jordan, I also, speaking of super duper, props to Jordan for making the opening and ending theme, being a great co-host, and helping with the editing.
Thank you so much, David, for all the work that you do. I love you so much.
I love you too. I hope you enjoy that DoorDash gift card. And Steph has a good recovery.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Jordan's girlfriend is recovering from surgery, so I just sent him a DoorDash so she wouldn't have to worry about dinner.
Yeah.
I got you, babe. Anyway, props to Merliel for the awesome cover art. Find her online at Lyle Murr, and Nigel for being our generous art benefactor. Thank you, Dylan, for assistance with editing. You can find his podcast, Anime Out of Context, at animeoutofcontext.com. Thanks to Tucker and MaxyBee for assistance with pronunciation, translation, other miscellaneous research. Find us on X at Shonen Flopcast, Tumblr Shonen-Flop, and our website, shonenflop.com. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcast. And hey, feel free to drop a comment on the YouTube video. It's always fun. I try and respond when I can. And also, if you can leave a review, that really helps us a ton. And come join the Shonen Flop Discord. Open to everyone, patron or not. Come hang out with us and talk about anime, games, or whatever else is on your mind. Find a link to it in the show notes or on our site. And if you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep going, consider subscribing to our Patreon. Wouldn't be able to keep running the show without their support. Get a ton of awesome perks, including Jordan. I think this is coming out in June. If not, whatever. Sorry, listener. Jordan, what did we drop in June for our listeners?
I believe this is the episode where I force you to read Baki.
Yes, it is Should You Read Baki, and you'll have to listen to find out what the answer is. We also have the Shonen Drop, where Jordan and I review the last 2 episodes of Shonen Flop, talking about our chibi guesses, going over the art, and opening up the mystery box. This episode, we gave our thoughts on Ruri Dragon and our live action cast of Chainsaw Man. We had one character where we cast the same person, so that we are now officially best friends. You'll have to listen, though, to figure out who it is. Not very surprising who our choice was. And no, it's not Kashibe.
No. Oh God.
God, that was peak. That was definitely Kino when we both said the same actor for that. Anyway, you could also be listening into our recordings live or listening to the warm-up audio. Find it at patreon.com/shonenflop. And now I want to read some of our wonderful patrons. Starting with the Dolphin Dads, we have Glornak. Keep your expectations low. You'd probably be disappointed regardless. And Rachel, my wonderful wife. I hope she's having a great time at the beach. I already restocked her favorite liquor, so she'll have a fun surprise when she gets back. Moving on down to the Ravioli tier, where anyone who becomes a Ravioli patron, I will send you some Ravioli official, not official Magic the Gathering tokens. She is called the Goblin Dog, so I made Goblin Magic the Gathering tokens, which I use for her. Sakaki, if you play Magic, I'm happy to send you some if you want. They just have pictures of my adorable puppy on them being silly. We have Chris, Eva, Lady T, Matt, T, Tiffany, and Trevor. Oh, also cute Ravioli story for the week. So she hates being put in her walking harness, so she'll like run around the house, and I was getting tired of it, so I started putting the harness back, and she immediately ran up to me and sat down. So I was like, I'm onto your game. That's why it was a good one, so I wanted to make sure to say it. Moving on to the King of the Forest, we have 090Z, Bandit Stoof,
My girlfriend.
Brad, Chad, Gas Snake, Jacob Andrew Galloway, Justin Hafner, Kirbymon, Marty, Max Baker, Riley, Sarah, T. Wolfwood, and Tommy Boy. And a big thank you to our Galactic Ball Federation officers and our Beast Children.
Thank you so much. I love all of you very much.
And then Jordan, is there anything you want to toss in that's not related to Mission Ignition?
So I have to get serious here for a second. A few episodes ago, we covered Yoakumono, and you probably already saw our tribute to our guest on that episode, but
Comic Historian for people who are out.
Comic Historian recently passed away, and we are shocked and very saddened to hear this. He was such a nice, funny guy. That episode is great, and my deepest condolences to his friends and family.
That's very kind of you to say, Jordan. Yeah, our thoughts are with you, and we actually, if you're listening to this, you probably saw we re-aired that episode just because we really wanted to just kind of be in memory of him. He was just a fantastic guest, and we were really privileged to have him on the show.
We were. It's really tragic.
Yeah, I'm really glad we read the patrons before this, so we didn't have like, okay, now the patron list. Now we've got Comfort McStyles. Thank you so much for your $25 a month. God, I'm just glad we're not kind of assaulted like the anime out of context, guys. Anyway, let's get into sign off. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next Monday as we give our first thoughts on Muddy. This has been David.
This has been Jordan.
This is Sakaki.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop.
Keep on flopping, flopper!
Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. And scene.